So, Black Widow is finally going to drop this year. I think July 9th is the day that the movie finally comes out. After sitting on this movie for over a year and a half, it's finally getting released. And it's getting strange promotion from Scarlett Johansson, where she's criticizing her character in Iron Man 2, saying that she was oogled too much. She was in revealing positions, and apparently the cat suit that she wore is a big, big problem. And the whole time I'm reading these articles or hearing her say this from an interview or something, I'm just rolling my eyes like crazy, because she's been in films where she's revealed everything. She's been naked before in movies.
No shit.
But of course, none of these outlets that talk about this point that out. Well, we're just going to talk about the Marvel movie, because that was the real turning point. This movie broke down barriers for her and made her a huge household name. But, you know, now that the time is over, let's go ahead and start trashing it. This is the way you promote movies now. Funny way to do it, especially when you consider superhero movies that have done this before, like Birds of Prey. That movie was supposed to be a huge hit because, well, Harley Quinn is a pretty popular character, and it bombed. It was a huge disaster. Why? Because they promoted that film by saying, well, you know, we got to stop the male gaze and get rid of all of the toxic men. And then they're like, well, why won't men go see it? It was funny. So, interesting article here by Pirates and Princesses talking about Black Widow could potentially be a mediocre box office movie. I still think it's going to make money. Even so, the movie's not going to have the huge numbers that Marvel movies are known for, and that's because, well, the coof. But are people going to pay $30 for it on Disney Plus? Stuff like that. These are things that they need people to spend money on this movie. And the interest for it seems rather low. Here's the thing about this movie. This movie is like a prequel. It doesn't carry anything forward. So I'm interested. I think this movie might be one of their first kind of financial failures. And I think there'll be many more to come. The way that they're talking about doing the MCU, I don't know. And to be fair, I hope this movie is good. I want it to be good. And I've always said, like, I'm hoping that it's like The Winter Soldier, which she was in, and is probably one of the best Marvel movies ever made, if not the best. I think it's probably the best of all of the MCU movies. It's such a great film. If you've never seen Winter Soldier, you should check it out. But let's take a look at their reasoning here. Something that struck me over the past weekend was the embargo lift on entertainment, journalists, and pundits for giving their thoughts on Black Widow. While the embargo still stands for official reviews, it's quite amazing that Black Widow is allowed to have opinions and impressions out there from people who have just seen the film 3 weeks before its release. The main defense we've heard is that the actors and filmmakers would like to have the 4th of July time off so that they can go ahead and do their media tour early. Okay, but something about this seems off considering it's not normal, which is true. I've heard people giving their impressions on this, and there's quite a bit of negative opinions surrounding this film, which to me says it might be good, because usually when critics don't like something, the public does. But I noticed this the other day because I'm like, well, this movie must be coming out soon then. Did they change the date? And I check it and still it's July 8th. And it's like, well, why are they, usually you're not allowed to talk about it for a while. Like, you have to wait to start giving opinions, and they're just flying all over the place right now. So anyway, I mean, it's not like the Independence Day weekend is some bizarre time to launch a movie. Rather, it's one of the most coveted slots of the entire year. So Black Widow having early embargo lifts 3 weeks before its open is sort of like having a Memorial Day weekend movie having early impressions allowed at the end of April. because the actors want Memorial Day weekend off. That's just weird. So let's take a look at how much internet interest there is for Black Widow. The head of Marvel Studios, Kevin Feige, admitted in a recent interview that they're using internet interactions to figure out their likely successes. So it seems like a good enough idea to us. And that's exactly what they did. Let me see if I can blow this up. So the interesting thing to note there is that Loki is the green bar and the purple bar is Black Widow. So if you want to take a close look at that data set there, that's for you to look at. Interesting stuff here that they also point out in this article is that you can clearly see how popular Loki is. And from what I understand is Loki's actually doing really good and it's been a huge success. And that's due to the popularity that has been built up with that character and Tom Hiddleston and his performance as Loki. People really like him. And that's one of the reasons why it's doing so damn good. They also have Quiet Place and they have Luca in there. And Space Jam 2. Space Jam 2, no one gives a shit about. That movie's going to be a fail. Big fail. Big fail. So, while Quiet Place 2 has currently hauled in $190 million in global box office revenue, if Black Widow is generating only 80% of the interest of Quiet Place 2 when compared along with the same time frames, and if you consider that Black Widow is getting a heck of a lot of attention this early, it portends poorly for Black Widow's potential box office performance. And it's true. Look at how well Loki and A Quiet Place 2 are doing on this chart, and look at how bad Black Widow is doing. I really wonder, there's going to be so many outcomes if this movie does poorly, because for one, they're going to be saying, oh, well, men just, the male gaze, when are men going to grow up? And why won't men go see this movie? It's going to be your fault that the movie failed, of course, as always. But I think that there's a big chance that this movie could be a flop and a failure. Despite, will it be a good movie? I don't know. Like I said, I hope it's good. I'm going to hold off on my opinion until I see it. But the things aren't lining up good for this movie. When you look at that interest, and this is something that Marvel themselves do, looking at online interest and stuff to judge a movie's performance, and the way that they're criticizing the character, it's a really weird promotion. We'll see what happens. I hope it's good. I would like to see a good spy thriller. We'll see what happens. So anyway, let me know what you guys think. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think it'll be a success or a flop? I'd like to hear from you. Also, if you would, please like, subscribe, share the video. Make sure you're still subscribed. Hit that notification bell. And I'll see all of you on the next one. Peace. Also, if you want to help support the channel, check out my Teespring store. There's a link in the description. You can find some merchandise in there that you might want to check out. Also, take a moment. Make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. There's something going on right now, and they've been unsubscribing people. So just take a second and double check on that and subscribe if you're new.